I want to first start off by saying that this 2022 El Tráfico semifinal will not only go down as one of the greatest El Tráfico matches of all time, it will also go down as one of the greatest MLS matches of all time. The game was worth its money. It was worth every penny, every cent, every dollar. The game lived up to expectation. Both of the main key superstars showed up. And I'm not talking about the European fanboy stars. I'm talking about both MLS stars. The two guys who have been the face of the team for many seasons, for multiple seasons. Both of them showed up. As for those two European guys, Chelini and Bale. So the word was that Bale was not injured. And I don't know if Chelini played in a match. Honestly, I'm like a lot of soccer spectators. I'm not able to watch every MLS match. So for the most part, I was listening to some of it on the radio that was provided by LA Galaxy's YouTube channel. Thank you for that, LA Galaxy, by the way. And I was able to watch highlights. Whether Chelini played or not, one thing I do know is he did not have an immediate impact. As a matter of fact, LAFC plays better when Chelini and Bale are on the sideline. They just do. You see, when the two older Europeans are not in the game, LAFC is able to play MLS ball and not Euro ball. You see, the difference between MLS ball and Euro ball, MLS ball, the speed increases, the tempo increases. The game is more exciting, it's more active. Players are more aggressive. Guys are going after it. In Euro ball, the game slows down. It's more like possession, and teams are trying to run out the clock. Euro ball is more so, it's played as if teams are trying to settle for draws and ties and force the regulation to go to extra time. That's what LA Galaxy wanted to do. But LAFC said, oh no, we want to start this party before midnight, not after midnight. We want to party before midnight, not after midnight. And it's time for us to have this conversation. Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chelini are not as important to LAFC as advertised. Now, LAFC, they won't publicly say that. When it came to Gareth Bale, they didn't even say, they say he's not even injured. Gareth Bale's not even injured. They just say he couldn't play in the game. It's load management. You see what LAFC, they'll never admit. And even Gareth Bale himself, he's saving himself to play for his World Cup team next month. And he's up there in age. So he can't keep up with the speed of the MLS and pull a hamstring, and then he won't be able to play for his country in the World Cup next month. Gareth Bale is saving himself for the World Cup next month. And the speed of the MLS is going to cause him to pull a hamstring or tear his groin. That's just the reality. After this season, I don't know how LAFC should handle Gareth Bale. I know Giorgio Chelini, he's eventually going to be a coach because he really looks like a coach. Every time I see Chelini on the sideline, he looks like he can be a coach. Chelini comes across more as a player's coach. LAFC plays better when Bale and Chelini is not in the game. They just do. The young guys are stepping it up. Arango, Boanga, Cifuentes. The young guys are stepping it up. They just are. LAFC played to win the game. LA Galaxy played not to lose the game. You see, there's a difference between that. You see, when you plan to win the game, you're not trying to allow this game. You're not trying to allow the game to go to extra minutes. You don't want to play too long, 15-minute extra minutes, and then go through a long time of penalty kicks. You want to end this game in regulation, because when you know because if you allow the game to go to extra minutes, you give the weaker opponent hope and life to win the game. You see, I don't believe that LA Galaxy is weaker than LAFC in terms of talent. Both teams are evenly talented, but the thing that set LAFC apart in this game, LAFC was better coach. It was coaching. Mainly it was coaching in this game. LAFC was better coached. And LAFC played with aggression. You see, LA Galaxy had to play from behind the whole entire game. They were playing catch up the whole game. That's why I said LA Galaxy was playing not to lose, while LAFC was playing to win the game. Because every time that LA Galaxy scored, LAFC responded. You see, if LAFC was playing not to lose the game, they would have just settled for a draw and allowed the game to go to extra time. But LAFC said, no way. We want to get this party started before midnight, not after midnight. And we're not taking this game to extra minutes. We're not giving you life because we know that we're better than you and we're going to end your playoff life in regulation. And that's what LAFC did. Now to LA Galaxy. Now, after the Nashville match, I was paying close attention to LA Galaxy, mainly their YouTube channel and their Twitter account, their Twitter page. And they were doing a lot to promote the game. But one thing that stood out the most to me was the angry faces. They had black and white photos of Chicharito and Ricky Pooge showing angry faces. I'm not sure if that was for fun. But one thing I do know, LA Galaxy, it really looks bad today. The fact that you didn't go out to win this game, it really looks bad. And after the Nashville match, when Chicharito was interviewed, it seemed like he was putting more emphasis on fun rather than the seriousness of winning a championship.
How much fun was that game to play in? Because it looked intense as well and lots of fans on the edge of their seats.
I'm surprised about your question because that's something that I will love to speak about. It fun, exactly. Like when you find the fun and the joy in intensity, in uncertainty, in places when it's tough. Because I always said competition is when you know you can lose. That's when competition is. Because then if you know you can beat every single team, that's not called competition because you already know you're going to face them, you're going to beat them and stuff. So competing, the sensation of competing is like you know you have chances to lose as the same of winning. So it's amazing. I did that face because I'm very glad that someone from your side speak about fun because sometimes people think to listen to you like you cannot have fun, you know, you need to be relentless, you need to be like serious and stuff. And sometimes you need to enjoy like that.
And the thing that I wondered about Chicharito is like, well, how much fun do you need to have? You have 34 weeks in the MLS regular season to have fun. You enter the playoffs and you're still talking about having fun? Like, when will playtime be over and you just get serious? Listen, fun, I said this before. MLS regular season, it's time for fun because the season is so long and it does get dual. It does get boring. I said this many times. MLS regular season does get boring after a while. And there are some weeks where you just get tired of watching after a while because the season is so long. So there's nothing wrong with fun. This is why I put more emphasis on offense during the regular season. And then come playoff time, that's when you can get tactical and focus on defense and tactics because the playoffs is much shorter. So regular season, fun. Playoff, defense, tactics. Regular season, offense. More tricks, more bicycle kicks like Joseph Martinez. That's fine. But for a guy like Chicharito, who's supposed to be the face of the franchise, and he's trying to put an emphasis on having fun rather than the seriousness of winning a championship to prevent LA Galaxy from losing the city of Los Angeles to LAFC, that's a major problem. When your biggest star, you're in the playoffs, you're middle of a potential championship chase, and your biggest star is talking about having fun rather than the seriousness of winning championships. Chicharito, my message to you, when does the fun end? You have 34 weeks in a regular season to dance like a clown. You come into the playoffs. The fun time should be over. Now it's time for tactics. It's time to get serious to win a championship. But after the Nashville game, you're still talking about you still wanting to have fun. How much fun do you need, Chicharito? That's probably one of the reasons why you lost. You see, you got one group in LAFC who's not talking about the importance of having fun because they are championship minded. Then you have another group with LA Galaxy. Their biggest star is talking about having fun, the importance of having fun. And then you got a coach in Greg Vanney. Greg Vanney, I told you, LA Galaxy does not measure itself based on Supporter Shield regular season championships. LA Galaxy measures its worth based on national championship. And in the interview, when he was talking to the media leading up to this game, Greg Vanney stated that El Tráfico has the potential of becoming bigger than the Canadian rivalry between Toronto and Montreal.
We've been out at LAFC training yesterday and talking with players today. They were quick in saying this is the best rivalry in MLS. As someone who's experienced a few of these at Toronto as well and Montreal, it's a big one. Do you agree with that statement? And what's your perspective on the magnitude of what this represents for MLS, not just here in this country, but a global product of what El Tráfico can be?
Yeah, look, I certainly think it has that the opportunity to be that. I think more games like this tomorrow are going to, again, continue to build the narrative as both teams continue to, and obviously the Galaxy's past success, but continue to become successful as LAFC continues to do well in the league, and both teams are playing at a high standard. This rivalry becomes bigger and bigger, especially the proximity of the two teams. The fan bases are right there, intermingled amongst each other. That's one of the things, obviously the Toronto-Montreal is big because you get inside of a country, almost two distinct countries who have a long history of sports rivalries and past. So that was a good one at the time, and both teams were very good at that time. But this has every possibility to eclipse that, especially with the level of the two clubs and the names on the rosters of both teams and the possibilities that exist within this rivalry.
And I was just listening like, what is this guy talking about? El Tráfico is already bigger than the Montreal-Toronto rivalry. Many sports spectators don't even know that Toronto and Montreal is a rivalry. So you have a coach in Greg Vanney who don't even know much about the El Tráfico rivalry. For him to say that El Tráfico has the potential of becoming bigger than Toronto, Montreal. For him to say something like that, that lets us know that he has no clue what he's doing. And it may be time for him to be replaced. If I was in charge of LA Galaxy after that game, I would have made a phone call to Greg Vanney or sent him a text message and told him that your office must be cleaned out before lunchtime on Friday afternoon. Before lunchtime on Friday afternoon, your office must be cleaned out because we're going in another direction. Thank you, Greg Vanney, for what you've done, but it's time for us to close this chapter and start a new chapter with somebody else. For him to believe that the Canadian rivalry is bigger than El Tráfico, LA Galaxy, that's a huge issue. That is unacceptable. You cannot have the head coach, the head manager of LA Galaxy saying that the Canadian rivalry is bigger than El Tráfico. That is unacceptable. It shows that Greg Vanney has no clue about the importance of this rivalry and the magnitude of this rivalry and the threat that LAFC has to take over the city of Los Angeles. Greg Vanney has no clue. He has no clue. And then you have, along with your superstar, Chicharito, he's putting more emphasis on having fun than winning a championship. Well, guess what, Chicharito? You are eliminated from the playoffs. So now you can go back home and have fun dancing like a clown watching LAFC on their championship run. You have more than enough time to have fun now. You have more than enough time to dance like a clown and have fun. This is what you wanted, so now you can go back to having fun. Because to you, having fun is more important than winning championships. So now, Chicharito, you can go back to having fun dancing like a clown. In order for LA Galaxy to return back to prominence, they need leadership that understands the importance of championships and team captains and team managers that knows that LAFC is threatening their reign in the West. Let's be honest. Ever since the departure of Bruce Arena, LA Galaxy has never been the same. The departure of Bruce Arena it literally opened the door for Seattle, Portland, and LAFC to become the face of the West. Ever since the departure of Bruce Arena in either 2014 or 2015, I believe it was 2015, the departure of Bruce Arena opened the door for Seattle, Portland, and LAFC to become the face of the West. LA Galaxy has been passive ever since the departure of Bruce Arena. And now you have guys like Chicharito putting more emphasis on having fun rather than winning championships. You have a guy like Greg Vanney who don't even know the importance of El Tráfico. He believes that the Canadian rivalry is bigger than El Tráfico. How dare you tell the media that El Tráfico has potential of becoming bigger than the Canadian rivalry? It's already bigger than the Canadian rivalry. El Tráfico is a global draw. The Canadian rivalry is not a global draw. Not even close. So, LA Galaxy, you got some tough decisions to make. You got some real tough decisions to make, and you got to move fast this offseason. Whoever's in charge, whoever's the GM, the sporting director, ownership group, y'all got some tough decisions to make this offseason. You got to send a message that being eliminated in the semifinals is unacceptable. That underachieving behind Seattle, LAFC, and Portland is unacceptable. Being passive in the regular season is unacceptable. Blowing leads, missing penalty kicks, not being aggressive, not being dominant is unacceptable. This is the offseason LA Galaxy where you got to send a message, whoever the ownership group is, whoever the GM is, whoever the sporting director is, whoever's in charge, whoever's the head honcho, whoever calls the shots in LA Galaxy, you gotta send a message this offseason that being passive is unacceptable. That being a franchise that just wants to have fun and dance like a clown and just entertain people, unacceptable. You can do that in the regular season, but the fun ends in the playoffs. And that's what Chicharito don't understand. The fun has to end. You can't be a little kid forever. Playoff time, that's when the boys become men in the playoffs. Regular season, everybody can be a little boy and just have their fun. But playoff time, that's when the men come to show out. And Chicharito don't understand that. Greg Vanney, he don't understand the magnitude of El Tráfico. He doesn't even, he's really clueless. He don't see the threat that LAFC is putting on them. LAFC, congratulations. I hope you make it to the MLS Cup Championship. Keep Bale and Chelini on the sideline. I don't care that if Gary Bell's going through load management. I'm not a European fanboy. I never had high expectations for Gary Bell. I wasn't one of these naive, clueless European fanboy who don't even watch the MLS to go out and say that, oh, he played in Europe, so he's coming to the MLS. He's automatically going to dominate the MLS because he played in Europe. I'm not clueless. European fanboys are clueless. They don't know the difference between Toronto and Orlando. They don't know the difference between Chicago and NYCFC. European fanboys are just clueless. LAFC, if you try to cater to the European fanboys, you will definitely lose a championship. You go ahead and cater to those clueless European fanboys who don't know anything about the MLS. I promise you, you will not win a championship. Gareth Bale wants to save himself for the World Cup next month. Let him do it. It's fine. The only time you put Gareth Bale in the match is if you have a good, decent lead, whether in the Western Conference Finals or the MLS Cup Championship. You have a good lead, and you put him in, I guess, just to make the European fanboys smile. The team, LAFC, you play much better with the young boys. The young boys is going to give you a championship, not the old European boys. The old European men is not going to deliver for you. It's the young boys that have carried you all season, and it's the young boys that's going to continue to carry you. The young boys are maturing into men. The young boys of LAFC are maturing into men, and I'm going to talk more about this next week. LAFC, congratulations. LA Galaxy, you got some work to do. And if I'm you, Greg Vanney got to go. This team has underachieved way too much under Vanney. People keep bringing up his records in Canada, and he won a championship in Canada. Well, guess what? That was in the 2010 decade when the MLS wasn't as tough as it is now. The game has changed. If I'm you, LA Galaxy, whoever's in charge, whoever calls the shot, whoever the head honcho, if I'm you, I'm paying close attention to the USL Championship playoffs, which starts this weekend. I'm watching the Sacramento coach, Mark Briggs. I'm watching the San Diego coach, Landon Donovan. I'm watching the Louisville City coach. I'm watching the Tampa Bay coach. I'm watching the Memphis coach. I'm watching the Detroit coach. I'm paying attention to the San Antonio coach. I'm paying attention to the Colorado Springs coach. There's a lot of coaches in this USL Championship playoff this weekend that has potential and have opportunity to be good MLS coaches someday. And those are the coaches that I'm paying close attention to for Greg Vanney's replacement. You have to make a decision. You have to make a move, LA Galaxy. You have to put your foot down and say, enough is enough. We are no longer going to underachieve. You have underachieved ever since Bruce Arena left. And now it's time for you to have leadership and players who are serious about winning championships, and instead of players who just want to have fun for the rest of their life. They don't know when it's time to be serious. They just want to have fun. They want to have fun in the regular season, and then they still want to have fun in the playoffs. They don't know when it's time to stop having fun and get serious. LA Galaxy, if you don't make a move, if you don't make a statement decision, you will definitely lose the city of Los Angeles to LAFC in the 2020s.